2012 through 2015 Fiat 500 brake booster vacuum pump replacer. I'm Brian Esser from How to Automotive. I'm going to walk you step by step through the process of changing that out. We're going to get started by removing the top engine cover here. So you're going to grab it on the left and on the right side of the cover and lift up and then pull out towards you. Next, we're going to remove the hose clamp here, and then the bolt here, the bolt here, and then we're going to pop the snorkel off right here, pull this off. I'm going to use my Milwaukee impact gun here to remove the bolts. Investing in this little Milwaukee has been one of the best things I ever did. If you guys are interested in tools like these, I'll leave links for it in the description of the video. So now we need to remove the vent hose right here. And I'm going to use a little pick tool and put it in the hose clamp and kind of give it a little twist. And that'll pop the clamp open. Now that you got the hose clamp off like this, the next step we need to get this coolant vent line. It's clamped on the back of the air box back here. So we need to pop that off, and then there's going to be one more bolt back here. So I'll get the camera back here. Once you get that bolt off, you can start pulling the air box forward, and it's easier to get that little vent hose off in the back once it's pulled out a little bit. So now you can go ahead and remove the air box and set it aside. Next, we need to remove this PCV box, air breather box. So we're going to remove the bolt here and here. And then there's a little bracket in the front. You can remove that bolt there. We're also going to take that bracket off. Once you get that bolt off, there's going to be a third bolt in the back. Once you get that bolt removed, you can lift up and then you can pop the little hoses off and set the PCV aside. Now we need to remove this little bracket that goes over the pump here. So there's going to be a 10mm bolt here, and then just below it there's going to be another 10mm bolt. You're going to remove that, and we're going to remove the vent line here by squeezing the tab and pulling it off and setting it aside. Once you got all the bolts removed from the bracket, you're going to leave all the electrical connectors and vacuum lines connected to it. We're just going to lift it off the bracket and flip it out of our way. Now we need to remove the 3 T45 torque bolts, one here, and one just a little bit below right here. And to do that, I'm going to use my Milwaukee M12 3/8 drive ratchet here. This little ratchet makes jobs like this go really fast and easy. I highly recommend you guys check these out. I'll leave a link for all the tools and the parts in the description of the video. Once you get all 3 of the T45 Torx bolts out, you're just going to pull the pump off like this. Now you're going to peel off the old gasket. It's most likely going to be stuck to the block. And we're going to wipe this area down, clean it all up. I'm going to use brake clean and spray it down and clean up as much of this oil as I possibly can. And even after the job is done, I may even take it down to a pressure washer and have the engine cleaned. Now that we got the surface all cleaned up, we're going to be installing a factory replacement pump here. And this is the part numbers. I will link this up in the description of the video, along with the brake clean and the tools that I use. Here's another view of the part numbers on the pump itself. Like I said, I'll link this up. So we're going to install the new gasket on the pump. It just presses on there. And then what we're going to do is line up the gears. So we're going to take a look on the block and see how the slot is, and then we're going to orientate the pump gear here. So we'll rotate it to where we think it's located, and then we'll lower the pump down into onto the cylinder head here and stab the pump into the hole, and we'll slightly turn the pump left and right to get the gears to line up. And once you get them to line up, the pump it'll go in flush, so you'll kind of give it a little twist, and then you can rotate it left or right to line up your bolt holes. Now that you got all 3 of the bolts in and started and run down till they're snug, you can take a torque wrench like this and you can torque all 3 of the T45 torque bolts. You can torque them all down to 15 foot-pounds. Now that you have all three of the bolts torqued down, you can take the little bracket here that has the vacuum lines on it and flip it back into place, and go ahead and install it back on and start actually put all three of the nuts and bolts back on it and tighten them down. One of the best features on this little ratchet here is the trigger is variable, so you can ease the torque up. You don't have to over torque it. Now we're going to take the vacuum hose here that goes to the booster and plug it back in. So you just line it up, push it on until you hear a click, give it a pull to make sure it doesn't pop back off. Now we're ready to reinstall the PCV breather box here. And if the O-ring here on the valve cover is in bad shape, I recommend you change it out. Mine is in good shape, but we're going to reuse it. So we're just going to put it down onto the slot, push it in down, and then you'll start the 3 bolt, reposition the hoses. Next, we're going to take the air box here and put it back into place. Tighten the back bolt, the 2 front bolts, left and right side, and then you're going to make sure that the vent line on the back is secure. Put the air snorkel on, and then tighten up the hose clamp right here. After the hose clamp is tightened up, we're going to take the vent line, push it back on, and then we're going to put the clamp back on. To tighten up the clamp, I'm going to use a pair of side cutters, and I'm going to squeeze the 2 sides like this. So I'll put the side cutters in here, and I'll squeeze it, and then the one end will flip over the top and catch, and it'll lock into place once you get it all the way over. So once you get it re-clamped, and if that hose clamp is bad, you can change the clamp out. Now we're going to reinstall the top engine cover. It has these little rubber grommets here on the 4 corners of the cover, and there's a little pod right here and here that line up with those grommets. So you'll line up the top engine cover, and you'll also line up the oil filler cap here. And once you got everything lined up, you'll just push down in all 4 corners. Top engine cover is re-secure, and that'll complete the job of replacing the brake booster vacuum pump on a Fiat 500. I will put links in the description of the video for the parts and tools that I use. I'm Brian Essa from How To Automotive, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos. Encourage you to subscribe. Invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com for more valuable videos like this. And I'd like to thank you again for watching.